fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some more news concerning Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury, and Watergate, okay? And a lot of people don't understand about Watergate, and for those who don't understand, let me try to explain it in another way, okay, if I wasn't clear. Just because a person tells you not to drink water doesn't mean that something could be spiked. What it is saying that that fighter or that side of that team does not trust other sources of water. That's what that means. And it is a careless thing to drink something precariously without knowing where it came from. Because here is the reality of that. Okay? The reality is, if Tyson Fury refused a bottle of water after the fight was over, he knew that there's a possibility of anything happening. Okay? That's just being precautious. It's opposite of being careless. Okay? That's the opposite. So I want people to understand that. So when you sit here and you hear people say, oh, well, hey, he didn't want to take the water because he knew something was in it. That's not the case. It doesn't mean that he knew something was in the water. He just didn't want to take the water and drink the water because he didn't know what was in the water, who had the water. Because regardless of who had the water, it could have had anything in that water. And if he drunk it, he's responsible for whatever is in his body. See, those rules didn't apply for Wilder because Wilder didn't have anything in his system, period. Okay? That's the whole thing people need to understand. He didn't have anything in his system. Okay? So you can't go off of the drunkenness or this or that, the other. You know, God forbids there's any undetected things that you can put in water that had Wilder like that. But no, I agreed with Blue with, hey, it's not too far-fetched when it deals with spiked water or what you put in your body. You're responsible for what you put in your body. So if Tyson Fury can bring it up and no one says shit about Tyson Fury, why can't they say that about Wilder? Okay, if Wilder would have said, hey, I think it was in something in my water. I don't know how it got there, but I think maybe my water was spiked. I think maybe my costume was messed up. I think whatever happened, I just knew, he just knew something was wrong. Okay, that's what he knew. He knew something was wrong. He couldn't put his finger on it, but he knew something was wrong. That's one thing. But to say Mark Breland spiked the water is just fucking ridiculous. That's the problem. It ain't the problem. People looking at the spiked water, it could have been anything. It could have been his eyes, something on the gloves. You know what I mean? Something could have been, it could have, a lot of things could have transpired that day that caused Deontay Wilder to feel that way. But just to come up with the idea of spiked water from your own side, that's the whole problem. So that's the point. And that's the problem with that. He's accusing someone on his own team. That's the whole difference. So I don't know if you guys don't understand that or not. Tyson Fury didn't want to take certain things. And when Shane Fury, his brother, seen him drinking water that wasn't of what he came from, he told him, yo, we don't do that. Simple. You know what I mean? Because like Blue Blood, he made some things, or he said some things about in his video about, well, no one worried about spiked water. Deontay Wilder didn't even have to worry about spiked water until Tyson Fury came along. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay, that's that. But it doesn't mean that Deontay Wilder was feeling that way because of spiked water, because there's no proof of anything having to be in his system. And if they're NNC people, you have to understand, if there were something in Deontay Wilder's system, he would have been looking at a whole different array of problems. That would have been really bad. But at least it would have made sense. Like, hey, that explains why this shit was in his system. That's why he was woozy or whatever. Because somebody drugged him. nobody has any evidence of him being drugged. So there you go. You know, so with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and all these guys, I just want them to fight one more time so they can never see each other again in the face in life. Fight one more again and never see each other ever again. Okay? Because I think at the end of the day, I think we have oversaw this particular fight too many times. We've ran this back. Hopefully this will be the third and last time. But as far as Deontay Wilder with Spike Water and Mark Breland did it, or someone on his team, like he's not even smart enough to realize that, hey, if you're willing to believe that, why didn't you just think JD's did it instead of Mark Breland? But see, he doesn't want to believe that, and no one is on his team that will tell him otherwise, because he's around people that say only what he wants to hear. Those are what you call yes men. But if he would have been using half of the other part of his brain, or the rest of the half that he uses, or whatever the fuck Deontay Wilder does and however he thinks, he should have thought like, yo, I don't trust any of these motherfuckers, because JD's was in the dressing room. And you know something? I'm really ashamed of the way people, like the people that are on his team. See, if you were going to have a certain type of friendship with a person, you would want to be able to be that guy to tell Wilder, like, yo, you know, that could have been JD's too, right? I'm just saying, JD's could have been also that guy that messed over you. You know what I mean? And I wish and I hope he had someone like that. And I still don't think he do. I think he just, whatever people want to hear, or whatever he wants to hear, that's what they're going to tell him. And it's sad. Especially that one person said, man, get rid of JD's too, man. Better safe than sorry, because J-Man, you know, he was in that ring. He was in that dressing room. And if you seen them clips, he was smiling all in them dudes' face like he was on their side or something. So I would get rid of him too, D. Why didn't we have that? You see what I mean? See, if he would have fired everybody, that would have made sure that, you know, like, hey, I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for this junk. This is what it is. Guess what? I'm getting a whole new team. He fired him by demotion. He didn't fire him completely, but he fired JD's. I want people to know that. He's not head trainer no more. He ain't fire him completely off the team. But he doesn't have what he used to have, which is that head trainer position. But anyway, I hope that sums up for you guys that don't understand what I meant. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.